Good morning. This is Crystal with Whole New Perspective. Today I want to bring you along with me and show you some of the items that I use to preserve. So when I was a child growing up, my mom always preserved. I come from a large family of 10, and so my parents kept a large garden. And so as kids, we had to peel, slice, dice, shuck corn. We had to do all of those things, and my mom preserved. And so preserving is not anything new to me, but I didn't start preserving until 2011. So when I learned to preserve, I decided I wanted to go to the extension office near me. And so I went to my local extension office and I took a preserving class then. And it made me more comfortable using my pressure canner and water bath canner as well. So if you're not familiar with your local extension office, please look that up, and you can find them in your area. They're usually connected to an agricultural college, and so they have a wealth of knowledge. So I'm going to talk briefly about the items that you see in front of me. I'm going to talk about my pressure canner. You really use your pressure canner my pressure canner is a Presto 16-quart pressure canner. And you use it to pressure can your meats and vegetables, your low acid items. This is turkey, carrots, and celery. It's actually from 2019. And then you use your water bath canner for those things. Usually it's your fruit, your jellies, your jams, peach jam. And this is actually this is actually pineapples. And so you use your water bath canner for those items. And you really don't have to have a water bath canner such as this ball water bath canner. This was actually the first thing that I purchased when I started canning. You really can can with the stock pot. Both of these are stock pots. And this is just a very small stock pot. You can purchase these little baskets to go down in your smaller stock pots. You really have to put something in the bottom of a stock pot. The canners, they come with something. They come with something in the bottom. So you don't have to worry about that. You just put it in there and you drop it in there. Now, I have an instruction booklet with my pressure canner, and I utilize it every time I can. I utilize the book. I don't want to go off memory. I want to make sure that I can perfectly. And that's why I utilize it. I also use several books. My books are well used, so as I said, I've had them for a while. I use the ball canning book. I use this ball canning book as well. They have recipes in them, and they give you step-by-step instructions. In your pressure canning book, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to use your pressure canner. And it also has some recipes in it as well. Before I move on, I do want to show you, I decided to do a cleaning up this year, and I found a jar of pears. I don't know if you can tell. These pears, I'll bring it up. They're from 2012. And so if you can see how dark it is and how dark the pears are, contrast that to the vibrant color here. This is pretty much, it was a vibrant color when I first canned it. Now, yes, I can still eat these, but they'll probably be quite mushy by now. And the taste may be a little off. When I decide to open these, I'll let you know. I think what I may do is can fresh pears and put this beside it. And then I'll open them up and show you what they look like then. The next thing I purchased after I purchased my canners was my Excalibur dehydrator. This is a non-tray Excalibur dehydrator. And it also comes with the book. And it tells you everything you need to know about dehydrating. In front of that, I have some apples. I've been eating off those if you can't tell. I have some watermelon, and I also have some peas. And so I do like to dehydrate. I hydrate quite a bit. I like to dehydrate fruit that's not so sweet. Just various things. I dehydrate all of my herbs. I dehydrate those as well. And so this is a good item to have. And you can get dehydrators almost at any of your big stores, and you can order them online as well. One of the last things that I want to talk about is fermenting. So I do ferment. I started fermenting about 2 years ago. I took this out of my refrigerator. This is kimchi. It's a recipe that came in my book. And so I do utilize my book. I'm not fermenting anything right now. So I did just show you what I do use to ferment. It's just a quart size jar, wide mouth jar. This goes on top. And once I ferment, I'll bring you along and show you that. But cabbage actually makes its own juices, so you don't have to worry so much about putting a brine in it. But if it doesn't have enough juice, you would need to put a brine, because that's one of the things you have to do, is it has to be covered with the brine. Then you put this on top. It's a weight, and it just kind of lays down in there. This is a pounder. You use this to pound down your cabbage or whatever. It's your cabbage to make the juices come out. Now behind this is a very old crock. And this is how they used to ferment years ago. This actually belonged to my grandfather, and it could have belonged to his mom. I'm not sure about that, but he was born back in 1901. So it actually belonged to my grandfather's family. And I certainly wouldn't be able to utilize this today, but this is what they used back in the day to ferment. The other thing that I do is I freeze items. I didn't put out anything that I've frozen, but I do actually use the freezer. And there is a process to that. Some things you have to blanch, some things you don't. So blanching is just putting it in water, boiling water for a certain amount of time, and then shocking it with ice to cool it down, or cold water. So thank you for coming along with me today as I show you the different things that I use to preserve. Today I'm going to be preserving some chicken thighs that I had and purchased in a different video. I may put that in the cards, so I'll show you that video. And the other thing that I will say as it relates to time management, when I know that I'm going to spend a long portion of my day canning, I make sure that I put something on for dinner. And so I utilize my crock pot. And so you probably see my crock pot in my video. So it is actually preparing my dinner. So the one thing about planning is plan today for tomorrow. And that way you'll have everything lined up. And I will bring you along with me through the process of canning my chicken thighs. So please look for that video later. Thanks again.